Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Folge 21 von If My Heart Had Wings. In der letzten Folge haben unsere Club-Members den Runway zum Start des Gliders entweedet, weil der völlig zugewachsen war, und am nächsten Tag haben sie dann die Flügel für den Glider fertiggestellt. Nun bereiten sie sich vor auf den ersten Testflight. Den Glider haben sie mit Tatsuos Hilfe zum Runway gebracht, alles gecheckt und nur noch der Start steht an. Schauen wir uns an, wie er fliegt. Amane-senpai got into the front seat with me following her and getting into the back seat. Fasten your seatbelt. As Agaya told me to do this, I checked the seatbelt a few times. Can your feet reach the pedals? Are there any parts that are hard to move? Everything's okay. Also fliegt es doch eher? Aber vom Backseat aus, oder wie? What's going on? The canopy, the transparent lid that covers the cockpit, got closed. Confirm that the canopy is locked. Okay. I checked the lock. If it's not properly locked, there's a risk it may open during the flight. Amane-senpai performed a final check on the flight controls. Outside the canopy, Ageha checked the rope extending from the winch and connected it to the glider. Senpai, please do a release check. Amane operated the release lever and the hook holding the rope was immediately released. If this fails to disconnect, it could cause a big accident, so it must be always carefully checked before the takeoff. Yeah. It's okay. Ageha gave a signal from outside and connected the towing rope once again. We suddenly felt a lot more nervous. This aircraft will fly through the air. It still didn't feel real. Yeah, understandable. To begin with, can an aircraft that we made ourselves really fly? It has no engine and it can't even flap its wings like a bird, so will it really be alright? I've had the theory explained to me many times, but you won't get the real feeling from theory alone. If you want to get there, the only option is to fly. Finally, we can fly. Finally. Senpai? I'm fine. I'm not scared. These wings that everyone made together are much better than the ones I made. So it'll be okay. Yeah. Could really got rid of my fears a moment ago. But right now, I'm counting on you, Aoi-kun. Leave it to me. This is why I was training on the simulator until I got sick of it. I went over the takeoff procedure in my head. The most dangerous part of the flight was the landing. However, serious accidents can easily occur during the takeoff too. This time I could rely on Amane-senpai, but to learn such a vast material it was necessary to have the whole procedure in your head. Ageha tapped the canopy from outside. Are you ready? When Senpai and I replied, ready, Ageha walked around to the side of the aircraft and lifted up the left wing that was touching the ground. The aircraft became level. The wings of a glider are really long, so it can't stand on its wheels like a normal plane. That's why it's standing with one of the wings touching the ground. Mach einfach die Räder weiter auseinander, hä? Abstand von 20 cm sollte wahrscheinlich schon reichen, auch wenn das nicht super stabil ist. Okay. Therefore, during takeoff, someone has to run along holding the wing up until it gains lift. Ich finde das wieder mal krass, wie detailliert das hier einfach ist. Ageha, who was holding up the wing, signaled Kotori, who was waiting far away, that launch preparations were complete. Here we go, Aoi-kun. Just as Amane-senpai whispered this. Whoosh! The aircraft suddenly got pulled forward. Yo! Pulled by the winch, the glider was quickly accelerating. The wheels jumped on the unpaved runway. Ageha ran along while holding up the left wing. I turned to the side and our eyes met. See ya! Whoosh! A few seconds after it started gliding, I felt the aircraft rising. And we were pulled for only a few meters. As soon as it started gliding and accelerating, we're climbing! Amane-senpai pulled back the control stick. Also fliegt doch sie? The aircraft raised its nose. I didn't know what the exact angle was, but to me it felt extremely steep. Rise! Whoa! My whole body trembled from the G-force. I was still turned by the sensation of the aircraft gliding softly and the feeling of being strongly pulled by the winch. Background music. Die ich nicht verstehen kann über... Yeah. I looked down through the canopy. However, at this angle the main wings were blocking my field of vision. I could hardly see the ground at all. At what altitude are we now? Kann das nicht auf dem altitude meter lesen? When uncertainty of the situation made me feel a hint of fear. Releasing the towing rope. Suddenly the pulling force disappeared and the released aircraft started gliding gently. That's because it's been detached from the winch. We're flying. From that moment the glider was no longer borrowing power from something else. It was flying all by itself. I've never experienced this strange feeling of gliding before. The sound of the wind was awfully loud. Aoi-kun, please check the towing rope. Krass. Sitting in the back seat, I turned around and saw that the towing rope had been safely released. With a small parachute attached, it was slowly falling to the ground with a parachute, oder? Parachute? Und nicht parachute? Parachute! Release confirmed. Alright, launch successful. The glider managed to take off into the sky without any problems. Ah, it's flying! It's really flying! Hey, Kotori! Ageha, look! Look, it's flying! Haha, I can see! It's amazing! It's flying with the wings that we've made! Whoa, so that's how it's flying. As expected, this is a deeply moving moment. Oh, the rope is coming down. We better go and retrieve it. I envy you, Aoi-kun. We're really flying. Awesome! I'd rather not look down. It's scary. You don't need to look down, senpai. Please keep looking straight ahead. Roger. Damn. I checked the ground in place of senpai. We were about 300 meters above the ground. Oh, Ageha recovered the towing rope. The towing rope, aka the one coming out from the winch, was attached to the bottom of the aircraft by a hook. The hook can be detached from the cockpit at any time. This is usually done just before the glider reaches the point above the winch. Und spiel einfach nochmal jetzt. Even if the controls malfunction, the hook is designed to automatically detach when the glider passes the point directly above the winch and gets pulled back. Once the towing rope is released, a small parachute opens and slowly falls down to the ground. If it's not detached, it can cause a serious accident, so we must always confirm that it has been released. From the back seat, I enjoyed the view from 300 meters above the ground. I can see the whole city. I could see the roof of Flying Fish Manor, which was quite close to the runway. I could also see Ageha's house, which looked tiny. Ah, there's the school. Amazing, we're really flying. Could you stop repeating we're flying, we're flying? It makes me painfully aware of it. Oops, sorry. I shut my mouth and enjoyed my first flight in silence. When I saw the flying glider from below, it seemed really relaxing, but when you actually try getting in it, it really is relaxing. Okay. However, hearing the roar of the wind and feeling the air resistance with my whole body was something you couldn't experience in the simulator. Those were the forces that kept the glider, which had no thrust, in the air. Even though the aircraft moved down slowly, it didn't fall. It flew leisurely through the winds. These wings are great. Are they? The stability is outstanding. They are really completely different than the ones I made. It's all thanks to those guys. Yeah, when we get back, I'll hug them a lot. I'm turning, she said, and tilted the control stick to the right. The aircraft rapidly leaned to the right. Whoa! Oops. Senpai returned the control stick to its original position to correct the aircraft, which had banked too far, but... She moved it too far and the glider banked to the left. Senpai, what are you doing? That's because this... Oof. What are they doing over there? Dunno, testing the main wings? Even so, it looks pretty bad. Hello, Amane-chan? Hello, Amane-chan? We received a transmission from Kotori. It looks unsteady. Is everything alright? It might be not. Senpai, please calm down. For a few moments, Senpai had been trying to level the aircraft, but she kept leaning it far too much to both sides over and over again. The ailerons are too sensitive. Oh. Yeah, your moment. Aoi-kun, your turn. Oh, okay. Senpai, I'm taking over. Go ahead. Senpai let go of the control stick. In her place, I took over the controls from the backseat. Also haben die doppelte Controls? Two-seater gliders have okay, thanks. Endlich. Danke. Two-seater gliders have exactly the same controls in both the front and back seats. Just like I did in the simulator. I tried turning it using the control stick to control the ailerons and the elevator, as well as the pedals to control the rudder. I tilted the control stick to the right and the aircraft banked. After banking, you only need to return the control stick back to the middle, but then it's necessary to move it in the opposite direction just a little. This was called counter-steering, but... I see. What's the matter, Aoi-kun? The response of the ailerons is too sensitive, but it's okay. This much shouldn't be a problem. By too sensitive, I meant that when I moved the control stick just a little, the ailerons responded more than normally, which was causing the aircraft to lean too far. They weren't properly adjusted. If clumsy Amane-senpai were to use controls like this, it could have been a bit dangerous. Will they be fine? It's alright. If worst comes to worst, they can always crash land on the lake. Oh. Yeah, okay. Hey, that's not going to happen, is it? It's better than falling onto the ground. Oh, they straightened it out. Oh, it seems like we're level again. Oh, will it be alright, Aoi-kun? Yeah, something like that won't be a problem. It was a little hard to maneuver, but I'll probably get used to it. Okay, I'll pilot it for a while. Yes, please. For now, I'll try flying once around the runway. I slowly turned the aircraft and made it circle around above Kotori and Ageha. From above, I could see them both waving. I wonder if Anshan is watching us too. I could just about make out the roof of Anshan's workshop from here. I turned a little more and now we were above the lake. Shall we go to the other side of the lake? The airflow is stable today, so it may be hard to find any updrafts. We couldn't increase our altitude without getting on the ascending air currents. Even though we call it flying, in actuality the glider continued descending slowly. If there are no updrafts, we will have to land sooner or later. But with these wings you won't be able to go there. Roger that. If it looks bad, I'll turn back midway. Das ist exakt dieselbe Szene wie ganz am Anfang des Spiels, oder? Huh? Where are they going? Towards the windmill hill, it seems. Will they reach it? I wonder. The glider proceeded to fly across the lake. The altitude was gradually decreasing, but there was still some safe margin. I'll be watching the altimeter. Altimeter is definitely a better word than altitude meter. Altitude meter. Yeah, that's a bit long. Yes, please. I learned how to read the instruments in the simulator, but I still wasn't used to it. Das Ding kann doch nicht so schwer sein. Also literally wie die Dials, die wir hier unten sehen. Wahrscheinlich? Hä? We just flew straight forward, and after a short time, the other side of the lake came into view. There, on the gentle slopes of the hill, the windmills were lined up. Today the wind was quite weak, so they weren't turning that much. What's that, I wonder? Das hat so lang gedauert, einfach bis die wieder aufgetaucht ist. Wann war die das erste Mal da? Folge 8 oder so? Wo sind wir jetzt? Wahrscheinlich 20? Where? Look, over there. It's coming this way. Could it be a plane? Ah, you're right. You've always had good eyesight. But it's flying awfully low. It doesn't seem too fast either. We saw you flying for the first time from over there, Amane-senpai. Ah, back then, huh? The day I came back to this town. The day when everything began. Kotori was waving her hand at the glider that time. Did you see her? No, I wouldn't have seen something like that. On that day the air currents were really strong and rough. I was barely alive at this point. Ah. Das was sehr close. Okay. While we were speaking, we crossed the lake and were now above the windmills. Just like Senpai did on that day, I slowly turned above the hill. It felt really strange to look down at the giant windmills from above. It's turning slowly. What a strange aircraft. It's a glider, isn't it? A glider? Yes, probably. A glider. It's flying so slowly, it looks like it would feel nice. If it had an engine, it could fly faster. I wonder why it doesn't have one. Aoi-kun, our altitude has decreased a lot. Roger, heading back. We couldn't stay here for too long. We had to return while we still had enough altitude to cross the lake. The moment when we were turning back towards the runway on the other side of the lake. I saw people on top of the hill. There were 2 of them. Girls, I think. It seemed like they were looking up at us. They probably like gliders, just like Kotori. As I arbitrarily imagined that, I left the windmill hill behind me. It's gone. It seemed unsteady and rather unreliable. Yes, but... it gave off the impression of soaring gracefully. Ah, they're back! They're very low, though. Looks like they're going to land. Come in, Aoi. Can you hear me? Loud and clear. We'll be preparing to land. Roger. Landing, huh? Well then, I'll return controls to you. Roger. Senpai nodded nervously and grabbed the control stick. It's said that most glider accidents happen during the landing. When descending from flight and coming into contact with the ground, even one mistake can easily cause some physical damage. Ja, vor allem wenn die Flügel so langsam einfach nur slightest tilt sorgt wahrscheinlich dafür, dass die Flügel zuerst den Boden berühren. The tricky thing about landing is that when you push the control stick forward to lower the altitude, the speed will increase. When the speed is too high, the impact from landing will be significant. Also, there's a risk you won't be able to stop in time, pass the end of the runway and crash into something. That's why you need to lower the altitude while keeping the speed as low as possible. Hence, the main wings of gliders are equipped with several types of lift-decreasing devices. In short, by reducing lift, the altitude can be decreased without gaining speed. Gliders tend to have a rather simple structure, but this type is equipped with several different devices used during takeoff and landing. They're descending. Good, good, just like that. Ugh. Oh. Amane-senpai managed not to scratch the underside of the glider, even though at the moment of touchdown she pretty much dropped it to the ground. After landing, the glider covered several meters before the wheel brakes stopped it. Several meters? Das geht ja noch. Welcome back. When we opened the canopy, AGH peeked inside. We made it. I unfastened the seatbelt and crawled out of the narrow cockpit. Senpai, are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Senpai slowly unfastened her seatbelt as well. I got out first and gave Senpai a hand. Although a mere 10 minutes had passed, I strangely missed the feeling of a solid ground beneath my feet. 10 Minuten? How was it? Kotori, who arrived a little after AGH, rushed ahead and started firing questions at us. Well, how should I put it? It was awesome! It was absolutely the best. No other impressions came to my mind. Thought so. How long were we flying for? About 50 minutes. Hey, did you reach the windmill hill? Yeah, just for a little while. I got a pretty good look at it. Sounds great. Good work, Amane-senpai. AGH passed Senpai a bottle of mineral water. The cockpit that was exposed to direct sunlight all the time was unbearably hot inside. Thanks. How are the main wings? They glided through the air much more smoothly than before. It felt really good. Alright. But at one point it was a bit unstable, wasn't it? Yeah, the ailerons are too sensitive. They need some adjustments. Were there any other problems? Let's see. While Kotori and I were overwhelmed with excitement, AGH and Amane-senpai were continuing their practical conversation besides us. I won't know for sure until I fly it a bit more, but for now that's about it. Got it. Well then, let's adjust the ailerons right away. AGH enthusiastically went to get the tools. What are you doing? Come and help, you guys. Let's fly as much as possible today. The testing had only just begun. We did a few more tests afterwards. The main objective for today was to test the freshly made main wings and check the repaired meter. That and my flight practice. Thanks to the work I'd put into the simulator, I was able to control it from the very beginning. I only realized this after flying the real thing, but Amane-senpai's simulator gave a pretty realistic sense of flying. I have to say that's what I'd expected of her. After we finished adjusting the ailerons, I practiced takeoff and landing and was able to use the basic maneuvers. Nice. As we returned from the 5th flight, AGH and Kotori came over to us. Good work! I opened the canopy and groaned. It's so hot. Here's some water. It appears that when you are flying in the season, water is indispensable. You've really gotten used to it, haven't you? Yeah, my body got used to the cockpit. That turn just now was really neat. And that landing, it was smoother than Amane-chan's. Aikun is improving quickly. Amane-senpai said in such a way that it was hard to tell whether she was glad or sulking. Understandable. It appears she still had a complex about her clumsiness. I'm pretty tired. I'll take a little break. When I got back onto the ground, my legs were a little unsteady. Rather than from fatigue itself, it was more because being in the air for so long had messed up my sense of balance. We've done enough testing. How about having lunch before we continue? Shall we? As we proceeded with this conversation, Kotori... Hey. I wanna ride it too. Amane-senpai looked at me. Wait a minute, I can't give her a ride. You're the one who has the license. But you're already better than me. That might be true when it comes to normal flying, but not all flights are trouble-free. If something happens, I might not be able to deal with it. Amane-chan, you fly it. Are you sane? AGH responded reflexively and Amane-senpai made a slightly hurt expression. Oh. Well, when I was in the backseat seeing Amane-senpai's piloting from up close, my heart was certainly beating dangerously fast. Okay. It's fine, I think it's worth risking my life for. Okay. We made those wings ourselves after all. Kotori nodded deeply. Okay, I understand. Well then, let's fly one more time before lunch. Yay! Atop a wheelchair, Kotori threw her arms into the air. Okay, I'll operate the winch. Aoi, help me put Kotori in the back seat. Sure. Ageha and I pick up Kotori and put her in the back seat. How's your seat? Not too loose? No, it feels just right. Oh. What's wrong, Senpai? When I thought I wouldn't have Aoi-kun to help me, I felt a bit uneasy. Ah, I know how you feel, but the person in the backseat should be even more worried. I'm fine. While we continue the preparations, Ageha was waiting by the winch. When takeoff preparations were complete, I gave Ageha the signal to commence the launch. Oh. Oh. Huh? The winch wasn't working. What? Hey, what's going on? Ageha was waving in our direction with both hands. The next moment... Wow. Black smoke rose up from the winch. Smoke's coming out? Oh, it really is. I'll be back in a minute. Just in case, please release the towing rope for now. Roger. I confirmed that Senpai had released the towing rope, then ran over to the winch. What's wrong? Looks like it's broken. Yeah, oof. Said Ageha, completely at a loss while looking at the black smoke rising up like a signal fire. It's no good, it broke. After examining the insides of the winch, Amane-senpai, covered in oil, uttered that hopeless conclusion. It can't be. Kotori, who really wanted to fly, was downhearted. It appears that one worn-out part broke and the winch didn't work anymore. Good that this happened before the launch. If it broke down during the takeoff, it could have caused a serious accident. Amane-senpai nodded in agreement. Can we fix it? This might be hard to do ourselves. We need to ask a professional mechanic. Tatsuya? That's going to take a long time, though, isn't it? It can't be done in just a day or two. In the first place, even getting somebody to collect such a bulky machine would take quite a bit of effort. To tell you the truth, I was more worried about the costs than the time it will take. That means... that's it for today's testing. Nice sound. Yeah. Kotori slumped down in her wheelchair, completely deflated.